Oh gosh, I really like the boat. I like the room in that. I love that. Look at it. But it really is a neat boat that needs to have some work done to it. Hi there, this is Captain Q and my old sailing buddy Randy. Join us as we travel hither and yon as we look for some great deals on classic boats and learn a little with each one.
Hello!
Oh, Randy!
Oh, there
I'm
he is.
looking at Mrs. Emma here. This, I think, is an old captain's launch of a Navy ship somehow, and I think somebody's converted it into maybe a big fishing boat. Pretty wild. Here we are down in Mystic, Connecticut, home of the Mystic Museum and about 8 million boat yards. Islander Yachts was started by, basically by a man named Joseph Glasson. Joseph Glasson designed and built a little wooden boat, a little 24-footer, which was to become known as the Islander 24. It was a wooden boat. And he did a really nice job producing it, and so much so that people just all headed over to his shop and said, build me one. He went off to find a company called Glass Laminates. Now, Glass Laminates was a user of fiberglass products back in those days, but they made shower stalls and portable toilets. They started taking his little 24-footer and they molded it in fiberglass. And when they molded the first one in fiberglass, the seams from the planking on the 24-footer popped out in the mold, and that was to become sort of a trademark for the company that was to become Islander Yachts. Eventually, Glass Laminates produced enough of these boats, and they couldn't produce them fast enough, but they got a little influx of money, and they ended up changing their name, and they became, what do you think?
I don't even know if I want to guess.
Well, it's the mother of all boat companies, Columbia Yachts.
Ah.
They got a hold of Bruce King, who is really well noted for doing Erickson yachts. And he did about 4 designs that I can think of. One was an Islander 55, and then he also did an Islander 37 motor sailor. But kind of a tricky boat he did was this Islander 37 that we happened to discover down here in Mystic. And you won't find a whole lot of them on this coast because the Islanders were large West Coast boats. They'd get dragged sometimes to the Great Lakes, but never too many here on the East Coast. Now this boat is, the owner, he decided he wanted a slightly smaller boat, and he just stopped using this one. Today we have an opportunity for somebody out there to get a boat that's not so far from the water's edge to be up and sailing before you know it. What do you say we go take a look?
Yeah, let's go check it out.
First thing you're going to see as you come up to this boat are the seams. Now, these aren't really seams, they're just molded in, a leftover sort of trademark for Islander Yachts. And it's kind of funky because it made the boat look a little more woody. This is back in the transitional period from wood to fiberglass, early on. So they gave, well, we'll give you a wood look and a fiberglass shell. This is something really different that we haven't seen before. We've got a spade rudder here of an unusual design. And I can't believe he didn't think about this before he designed it. And I'm not certain what the thought process was. Today we would have had just we wouldn't have had all this business here. But this again is carrying the prop. If you notice, the shaft is almost straight, it's almost horizontal to, right here,
yep,
straight into the boat. So when we get on board, I'm going to bet we're going to find that engine right down in the bilge somewhere. This will keep the weight down low. Early fiberglass boats too were like a lot of the cars that came out of Detroit. Everybody would go race their cars to see who could win a race and get a name for themselves. And so this boat was not purely designed to cruise, it was purely designed to go fast and develop a name for Islander Yachts. We've got a feathering prop here, and this is slightly offset. This is not going to help your handling generally that you're used to with a boat because it's not going to be kicking water at the rudder. Normally you have a prop up in here, so when you turn the rudder, like so, boom, the wash is going to hit it, and it's going to deflect and push the boat around, right? Do you understand that?
Oh, yeah.
Now, with this guy, he's going to be turning around, and when it turns around, it's just going to pull the boat backwards, and the boat's not going to move until you get a bite on this rudder, and the rudder starts feeling the water going by it. What did you find there? You're picking at something.
A little crack there.
Okay. Yep.
Needs a little fiberglass love.
Yep. You probably want to drop the whole shaft right out and take a look at it and see if the bearings are all tight and straight. But one thing we're noticing about the hull itself, this baby is baby bottom smooth. This is great. A nice coat of, I like balder plate on there is one of my favorites. Polish it up and you'd have a very fast hull. Nice fin keel, a design that King obviously felt was going to do the work for the boat. You know, everybody tried different things back then. He's got a little bit more of a trailing edge there, maybe to cut down on some eddies off the keel itself.
Tell me about the bilges.
She's very flat here. This isn't, we don't have the slack bilges of the big fat old cruising boats that go right down there like so. So you're going to have a shallow bilge in this boat, and this is all lead bolted on here, and I'm not seeing any smile off here necessarily. You can see where the edge is, but only sense where it is more than anything else. It's all lead. If you take a look down here, look at the keel. That's not a very blunt keel. I mean, it's not big and fat. It's nicely rounded. I think this boat's going to be very fast.
Does this have a razor bow or a smush?
No, this is not a trip bow. It's just a nice gentle bow, and she's deep forward. See how deep she is forward. It's just not going into these new boats today. We know they practically cut them away right at the boot top. Okay.
Yep.
So this is going to be comfortable. What do you say? Shall we take a look topside on the boat?
Yeah, let's go up.
Randy!
Yeah!
Come on up!
Thanks.
Wow! You know what? We found a racing boat. Look at all the teak. It's all stained and dried and Scottish, but you know what some teak brightener on that would do just right off the bat? You could bring this right up to pink.
Is there any point where the teak gets too skinny to bring it back?
No. This isn't really wasted. I know you think that's wasted. This is just really thin teak. There might be a little bit of wasting, but very little. We've got I think this is an old Yacht Specialties wheel system here.
Okay. With
the binnacle and compass that would live here, and the compass is available, it's still there. And a nice helmsman cockpit back here. I've got a set of engine gauges right here in front of me, and they all look pretty good. They're good and clean, the clear glass on them and so forth. And we've got a dual throttle and transmission set of handles here. That's easy, and they're right down there close to the helmsman. This boat has a gasoline engine in it. It's a gray marine engine. I've got the stats on it, but right now just note it's a gray marine engine. And frankly, if I had my choice for an engine in a sailboat, I'd love to go gas, because they're quiet. It's so quiet. There's only one thing you have to do with a gasoline engine. You know what that is?
Probably run the blower.
You got it. Then you take your nose and you find out where that blower is exhausting, and you put your nose down by that blower exhaust, and as soon as you don't smell any fumes at all, start it up. I like this back here. Now, we have a project boat, there's no question. The boat needs to be thoroughly scrubbed, of course, and at some point you're going to want to paint the decks. Check this out. Look at the nice sized lazarette. There's a, what is that down there? Big plow anchor down there. Line and chain for spare backup. And over here, this is kind of clever. Our propane tank box, and there's room for 2 tanks in there. We got a stern light. We got a place for your ensign. This is a little socket for a man overboard pole. Here's your backstay tang, and a really super heavy duty cleat back here with access to leads for docks on either side, and a really massive, very strong, very massive push pit back here. Look at the size of this. And incorporated with it, we have the fold-down boarding ladder right off the transom. Nice working cockpit, and we're really sitting in almost a 12-meter style racing cockpit with this bridge deck running across here. The helmsman's completely separated. Nobody's going to bother him. We have here true sail lockers. Look at that. Look at all the room down there. And that's just a pressure hose and clean it out. Here's some wonderful snatch blocks that are on board. This is the old standard, and they're set up so that you can take them off and change the line in them. Now on the port side, more of the same, and lots of storage room, maybe battery box area there. A couple of washing buckets. Here's your exhaust hose coming out, and of course the big required bilge pump right here.
Is this the rudder post here?
This is your rudder post. And so if you need to put the emergency tiller in, you put it in there and you just sit up here and steer the boat. Check the winches out here, Barry and 28. They're so shiny all around this whole cockpit. They're like little jewels, okay? There's 4 of them, those are probably 26s or something. I want to show you how wide these decks are. They're enormously wide. The shrouds are set outboard a little bit. But nice, strong stanchions. Look, see, these are super braced, you see?
Yeah.
That's kind of nice up here. Not a lot of gear up here. Again, we're talking a racing boat. And when you race these boats, you notice there's a roller there for an anchor. That anchor is going to be picked up, carried on, and put down on the floor of the forward cabin to get the weight off the bow. One big cleat with nice stainless fair leads for it there. A pretty massive headstay tang there. We've got the hawse for your rope lead. Nice spinnaker pole. I'd love to know where the mast is to take a look at it, but...
Yeah, do we know about the sails? Are there any sails?
There are sails with it. There was a Dodger on here somewhere, so it might be a Dodger frame. And that's a big part of the expense of putting a Dodger on a boat, is having a Dodger frame. I love that. Look at it. Surprise!
Everything on the boat is dirty except that.
Everything is just filthy. Nice big stainless 1.25" track again, with a movable car right here by the gate. And there are 2 gates on this. Gates being the opening that you can step on the boat wherever you tie up. What do you say we go below?
That sounds good. Yeah, let's check it out.
Give me a second. I'll get this open for you. Ready? Ah!
Watch your face. Don't get splinters over there.
Okay, I won't. Here we go. There we go.
Oh.
All right. Randy, come on down.
All right.
This is kind of a surprise what needs some TLC. There's water stains. There's some floor that needs to be worked on. The counter and galley area is sort of messy. But the bones of the boat seem to be very good. There's a ton of headroom in this boat.
Want to give me a demo?
Sure, be glad to. So here's the headroom. Why does that look?
That's good reference.
No. Great head, even out of the hatch I've got another 6 inches, but look at that. I don't know, what is that?
Yeah, it's a good 4 or 5 inches higher.
Yeah, so a lot of headroom, and to get this headroom, the designer dropped down the step just a little bit down here, and that picks up a couple more inches. You know, when you're on a boat like this, sometimes you want to entertain, and this is an interesting, one of the nicer galley tables that I've seen in a way. Simple latch there. It's got one simple leg that comes right down, and we can set her right down there in a little hole, and she's all set. And look at this. It comes with something to drink, a little food. We have candles, and you can see 1, 2, 3 on this side, and then maybe a couple chairs. But actually, that bench, we just tried that. It's a little sticky right now, but that will come all the way out to make an appropriate seat. And the best part is the way this stows. Let's not ignore some wastage in the floor down here. I don't know how this has gotten wet or what's happened to it, but that needs to be dealt with. There have been a couple of deck leaks. You can see right there, one of them, a cabin roof leak. I don't know what the source is. It might even be coming down from the hatch overhead. If you look at the hatch overhead here, it's kind of wet and moldy and kind of gray looking, and the liner on the overhead is split right there. So I'm thinking it's had some water go in there, split, and run right down the inside of the cabin. But interestingly enough, when you look around the west of the cabin, there's been maybe a little moisture down here, but no major leaks.
Would you take this overhead down as part of the rehab?
Well, if you're doing a full rehab, you're going to strip this boat pretty heavily. But I don't know that I'd take it right down right away. I'm trying to find out the source of the leaks. And this is nice. Look at the compartment in here. Oh, we've got charts in here. We can go somewhere. Do you know what this is? Remember this?
Yep.
This old guy?
A little preventer strap.
Preventer strap, or a vang strap as such for the main boom. Okay. Now, on the starboard side, what do we have here? Nice little shelves for miscellaneous gear. So let's come over to the galley for a minute here. We do need a little work here. I'm going to commit this Captain Q special rag here. Let's just see how this cleans up. Whoa, look at that. Now this isn't even using a cleaner right now, and I'd like to have a cleaner, but just to pick up the dirt. This is where the companionway has leaked, and there's been soot and stuff coming into it. And what do you think about that?
Yeah, it could clean up really nicely.
It does, huh? Pressure hot and cold water is set up here. Stove here with a little cover on the top, used for, there we go, 4-burner propane. We found the propane tank in the back, and this is certainly usable. Okay, and somebody might have actually cooked in there. There's plenty of storage behind here. Look at that nice storage. We've seen better, but this is only a 37-foot boat. Now this is particularly nice. This is just icebox. There's just confirm that there's no refrigeration on the boat, but there is a really nice big stainless steel lined icebox. So there's a nice little storage series of lockers here, and you know, we don't see a chart table, do we?
No.
But I do. Look at this. Another clever design. Here's your chart table, and bring it down. I like this. I like this a lot. Look at that. And that's a big chart table. Now, we don't have a seat for it, but my buttocks are firmly anchored on the companionway.
Not bad.
See? Let's take a look at the engine. Now, we mentioned earlier that this does not have a diesel engine, right?
Right.
And the owner elected to put a gray marine gasoline engine in this boat. The captain does think it's a pretty cool thing to have a gasoline engine on board. What I like about the gasoline engine, quiet. And the owner says he's had this running, he's had it bench tested and everything, and she looks a little rusty right now, but it's all made out of metal, so that's bound to rust a little.
Yeah,
Get it checked out.
How would you clean it up?
First of all, I gotta get a lot of light in there. And then you get some degreaser and see if it really needs degreasing, or if it's just surface rust. That's not a big issue. You might even get just a pressure hose and a normal engine degreaser and put it in there. But it doesn't look like it's that greasy, it's just rusty. A nice solid 3-step companionway. You don't step into the sink. Master battery switch is under here. To answer your earlier question, you want to take down the overhead? Sure, you're going to do a major job in the boat. Peel the whole overhead down. Make certain everything is sealed off through the deck properly, and you're in business. And that's the proper way to do it. And then there's a slightly less proper way to do that'll get you sailing pretty soon by not worrying about that.
Yep.
I would worry more about the softness here. This is actually wet. You can feel wetness there. And that may be just nothing more than the wetness I cleaned up here.
Yep.
Draining back there, and you can see it's wicking up. I like the I like the oil lamp. And we've got a clinometer here that would tell you how far over the boat's heeling. It must have heeled over really far because the arm that usually swings here is gone. And we're walking by the carrying area for the mast. The mast steps through the deck, and we'll live in here, and you can see there's another piece of wood somewhere that closes off, so you just have all wood down here. Nicely finished. How about a head? Look at this.
Oh, wow.
Look at that. What do we like here? What have they done for the captain?
It's going fore and aft.
Fore and aft head. That's the way we like it. And you're wedged in. So you're pounding through a seaway, and the boat's going, oh, like that, and then it hits a wave, boom. You're not going anywhere. And here, I would call this your handy-dandy laundry locker. It's always nice to have one of these on the boat somewhere.
We've got one of your favorites here.
Oh!
Oh, hello.
Hold on, hello. This is a proper size mirror. And the nice thing about it is when you're on the fore and aft throne here, you can groom and, you know, do stuff. Coming forward, this just reminds me of the old days, the V-berth storage area under the berths. And there's always nice big dry lockers down there. And look at this one right here. And I don't know if that's water right there or holding tank offhand, maybe holding tank. And just all the space has been utilized. And these berths aren't that everything else. We got a little bookshelf over here. You want to take care down the headliner, here's where you start.
Yep. We
got a real problem with this little hatch here. This is pretty rotty. Okay, see this guy right here? That needs some work. Hanging locker here, filled with some nice foul weather gear and so forth.
That just doubled the value of the boat.
Yes, exactly. And on the other side, we have more storage here.
Yep.
And a V-berth filler. So
Good headroom there.
This has been quite wet in here for some reason. Either they left the hatch open because all this woodwork needs to be sanded down and addressed. You know who we'd love to give this boat to work on?
No.
Alan up in Freeport, Maine, who did the Hinckley 41.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, what he could do with this boat, huh? There we go. And nice big hanging locker here. Just needs cleaning to start with. And then go have a good time with the boat. And if you want to over time, fix it right up. What a boat we've just seen. This was an Islander 37 that was built years ago for racing. The current owner lost interest in the boat and has decided he needs something a little smaller because he's getting wicked old. And the boat asking price is $7,500. It appears to have a very sound hull. The keel appears tight. I really like the boat. I like the room in that, but it really is a neat boat that needs to have some work done to it. I know that boat's gonna float, so we're gonna give it a 10, right? It's a Bruce King design, and he's never built or designed a slow boat. I'm gonna give him 5 for the Bruce King. I'm just gonna give it another 4 because you really have a good opportunity to fix a boat up. So I'm gonna give him up to 19. 19 for an Islander 37-footer, sitting right here in Mystic, Connecticut, waiting for the next man to show up.
If you like what you see, please hit the subscribe button. And if you want to be notified when the next one comes out, please hit the alert bell. And that's not desperate at all. So we're having too good a time doing these things, so you can hit the bell or not. Randy, how would I ever find out what's coming up next?
You can follow us on Instagram here,
Yeah.
or Facebook here. We'll have little previews of what's coming up on our next episodes. A little bit early.
It's pretty cool. You all join me. I'm going to Instagram right now, and I'm going to find out what's coming up next week. Thank you very much.
You know, Instagram's not a place.